Nerd On the Podcast is proudly partnered with Apogee Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio.
How did you all feel about the driving/racing games?
I was just...
Hold on.
Let me go. Hey everyone, welcome to Nerd on the Podcast. You didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. Whether you use quarters or fancy golden tokens or fancy little credit card swipey dealies.
Oh, those are fun.
Dang.
Oh, those are cool.
That's when you know you got the premium.
It's not a credit
Premium
card,
stuff.
it's a card with credit.
It's a card with credit.
Yeah.
So you have probably played an arcade game at some point in your life, and so have we, it turns out.
We've played a
All of
couple.
us. Yeah, a few.
That's a mystery. So today we're going to be talking about arcade games.
Ooh, it's an RS episode. We're
it's
doing an
another
RS
episode about arcade games.
So that means we guess
that.
Nope.
Game.
my
Arcade RS.
My bad.
Settle in. You know, get your spur. You know, go cash in your tokens. Get your little
Tutti
teddy bear.
Fruities,
Get your
your
little
Tootsie
teddy bear.
Rolls.
And your
tickets?
little, Dave and Buster's shot glass. And sit down and listen to us talk about
I
it.
always wanted one of those things that the people who working at arcades have, where they just dispense coins on their belt.
Those
So
are
badass,
why don't
ready to
we
go.
have those?
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm running around with coins in my
A
pockets.
little kid with a fanny pack and a coin dispenser.
Oh, that would have
It's
been
like-
me, dude.
But see, that would suggest that you would ever have that much money to begin with to fit it. What is that, like
Fair.
$80?
Probably.
Isn't that probably right?
Amazing.
My dad was generous sometimes.
But anyways, before we get into that, my name is Ollie, one of your hosts.
I'm Tom.
I'm Corey.
I'm Caitlin.
And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks like bonus episodes that nobody else sees but you.
Just
You
you.
also get access to our Discord server that is hopping all the time and growing all the time, and we love it. You get discounts on merch. You get all sorts of fun stuff. So
Slash
please,
those prices on that merch.
Slash!
You also get to participate in a poll to guess the grump on our regular episodes, which is a lot of fun.
Fun stuff. But do check that out, nerdon.io/Patreon. And also, as we have mentioned over the past few weeks, we partnered with Apogee and Odyssey. Odyssey makes these wonderful headphones that we are wearing at the time. They also do a gaming set, Mobius, which is it's an incredible
I'm so
experience.
jealous.
Yes.
The microphone quality, the listening quality, it's awesome. So do check them out
It's
as well.
real good.
They're 3D headphones.
3D headphones.
How do we use
It's wild.
Apogee?
Apogee, we use their audio interface, the Element 88. It is behind us.
Mhm.
Has I just love the simplicity of it. I dig it.
I also use their hype mic when I travel.
Yes.
And for
Which I do
video
a lot.
game streams.
I use it for video games.
Yeah. So do check out Apogee. But yeah, those are our partners. That is the housekeeping. Let's do this.
Let's get into it.
Let's
Video
do it.
games.
So
Arcade games.
I feel like
Yeah.
we got to go way back, right? We got to go back to our childhood,
Pong.
Nintendo
right?
first
Tom-
makes their first card game in 1918.
Wow, we're not going that way back.
Oh, my
We're going
bad.
us way back.
Two people could play a game at once. No, Caitlin and Tom are a little bit older, right? Or younger, sorry.
Yeah.
So your
I'm an
experiences,
old
I'm
man.
curious. I'm very curious to see what
yeah.
your arcade experiences have been compared to Corey, Josh, and myself. Although
I'm 147.
124.
It's 1 year difference between Caitlin and I than Caitlin and Corey.
So because you're the youngest,
Sure.
and always get it right, I'm going to have you pay very close attention to Josh talking about his first experience in the arcade. So take us back, Josh. Where?
Are we going for the oldest first? Shouldn't it be you?
Oh, okay.
Too
No,
late.
he's
Too late.
not
he,
the
he
oldest.
passed
I
it
am the
too
oldest.
I think he
effortlessly.
actually is.
How was
to
it back
Josh.
in the 40s? Let us know.
Way back in the 40s when we had the penny arcade.
We played ball in a cup.
No.
Ball in a cup on a string.
So in San Diego, where I grew up in East County, we had Parkway Bowl.
And the best Mexican food money can buy. In the
Hell
US. Is that
yeah.
right? In the US, San Diego? Yeah.
Hell
100%.
yeah. So in East County, you had Parkway Bowl. You had, at the time, what was Family Fun Center, and then it turned into Boomers. But
Okay.
okay, Boomers.
I guess you are that.
But
The
Boomers
sound
was
of my forehead hitting the mic.
Oh, no.
I mean, essentially, Boomers was like, it had a go-kart, it had a putt-putt, it had batting cages, but inside was arcade
Mhm.
and RS. And then, of course,
TM.
Parkway Bowl, it had the pool alley part of it, had the bowling alley, and then it had the arcade. But that's usually, I mean, the Family Fun Center is where we would spend most of our time if we were getting the chance to. it took an hour to get there, so it was kind of a special kind of thing
Aw.
to go down and
The trip.
be at Family Fun Center or
Yeah.
something like that. And yeah, man, I just remember playing like
That was your spot.
that was one of the spots. It's a good time, and you didn't have to go to downtown San Diego or anything like that. It was a place that you could go to as a family, and then
Yeah.
there was more stuff to do, like
Mhm.
go karts, and I always love the
There were
batting cages.
go-karts?
Yes.
Hell yeah,
What?
Some of those like nice like places have like everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your go-to game? I guess we'll get further into that later.
yeah.
but
Let's
yeah.
just start there.
Yeah.
Second oldest.
Mine, I think most of my experience honestly comes from Chuck E. Cheese. If we're going like when I was like
Uh-huh.
super young,
Wow.
that's
forgot
because
about
I was trying to think of like, well, where have I played games? And Vegas is a huge component of that. But I think it started for me in Chuck E. Cheese. Just going there,
Yeah.
it was like an easy thing to do, very colorful, playful, very low effort by
animatronic
parents.
band.
Yeah, and like the parents had to eat pizza and all.
That's where I had
but,
my
like,
first birthday.
awesome. Yeah,
Aw.
I've had several birthdays. I mean, we've all been to a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party at some point.
Mm-hmm.
One might
But
say
one
that
of
you've
my-
had 34 birthdays.
At Chuck
At the
E.
time of
Cheese.
this recording,
34 of them. Not all of them at Chuck E. Cheese, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
I showed
they
some
didn't have
restraint.
Destiny there.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have Destiny going. But after that, it was more like growing up more in teens. We had a tradition for a long time of going to Vegas every year, or slash Tahoe. If it was like winter and it was perfect time to go ski. But Vegas mostly, you're there as a family. It's a little different. You can't, it's not party off the walls sort of thing. So it's a little more tame when you're with the family, right?
Yeah.
So it's mostly about like seeing
Is
the
it?
sights, walking through the strip, maybe having some food, watching the treasure, pirate show.
I never experienced Las Vegas
You-
young. Did they
I
have
was like, you
arcades?
experienced Vegas so differently than how I experienced.
Well,
it.
I didn't. Are there arcades? And
So that's the thing. So at a certain point, the
it's like
grown-ups,
a kids casino.
right? The grown-ups want to go do their thing. We would have we would bring our consoles for the night because that's
Oh,
for
in
the hotel room.
yeah.
Because like at night, come on,
Yeah.
we're kids.
Yeah.
But during the day, sometimes they want to go afternoon gambling, whatever. Then shout out to my brother and Sean and my dad.
Hello, Sean.
Shadow Sean.
He would take us.
Shao Kahn.
My dad would take us to this arcade in Vegas. Some of you might be aware of. I'm not sure. It's called GameWorks.
Mm-mm.
I've
It
heard
is
of it.
the mecca of arcades. It is like multiple stories,
Holy
and
shit.
it's a credit card guy. So
Got it.
it's
good.
It's high. High
High
quality.
tier.
I
Yeah,
feel like I might have been there. Actually,
it's pretty incredible. It's like
Is it still there?
it's imagine
Oh,
if
yeah.
someone was like, I went to this arcade that was the most Vegas arcade. Like that is literally it. So like it
Smash
was
them
pretty
together.
great.
You got it. You got
Yeah,
this place.
so we spent a lot of time there, and that was kind of like that would always be the highlight of our Vegas trip. The only reason we would even want to go
It's totally a kids casino.
as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kids
Casino?
casino.
Casino.
Hell yeah.
And it was a dream because, of course, we're
he just
on,
laid down his microphone.
we're on vacation with family, so the purse strings are a little bit looser. You got a little
of
bit more.
course.
That's when-
$80 worth of coins saddled
Well,
on your
it's
hip.
like $20 of a card worth $20 of credit. You're like,
You know when you
"Oh
pop
my
that
God."
in, like the whole thing fills up, and you're like, "Oh no, it's still going." My pockets are now heavy with so many quarters. Like,
Well,
Fuck
no,
yeah.
well, this place it was a card, so it was just like,
oh yeah.
so you just
Wow.
my dad would give us like each a $20 like
credit.
credit, and I was like, that was like the most I'd ever gotten like at an arcade. Usually it's like
yeah.
here's a
A lot of
five,
quarters.
here's a couple bucks, go play some games for like 20 minutes, whatever. This was like, this is a yearly annual occasion. This is
Special
the pinnacle
occasion.
activity of our trip,
Mhm.
and let's give us a little more. So that was always the highlight of those trips
There
for
you
me.
go.
Nice.
Wow.
That was my arcade
Because
experience.
I'm the next.
you're the
yeah.
middle child.
I'm
That
the
no
middle
one
child.
Middle
cares
child
about.
of the podcast.
Aw.
What's up, fam? The rude boy in the lot here.
Aw, he's sweet.
I also was at Chuck E. Cheese for quite some time. Like I said, I had my first birthday there. I had no choice in it, but I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
But then I graduated to a little place called Scandia.
Mm.
And
Do
the
tell.
theme song goes, Scandia, all kinds of fun, all wrapped into one, because it was
That's the
arcade,
song that you've been singing
Uh-huh.
forever.
laser tag, go-karts,
Ooh.
Laser
water
tag.
bumper cars, a
Yeah.
batting cage,
What?
everything, and putt-putt. It was everything.
Which is just one location.
This
of
is
it?
one location.
Okay.
It's all
Wait,
kinds
wait,
of fun,
so- That
makes
all
more sense.
wrapped into one.
Wait, you guys are all from California, correct?
Mhm.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense
Yeah, yeah.
now. We're
So-
going to get into that in a minute.
Awesome.
So this place, Scandia, this was the place where like I would go with my dad or my grandparents, and shout out to Jolie. He would give us $100 bill to go to the arcade. Drop $100
Jesus
bucks on arcade games because
Whoa.
he was an arcade kid and he even owned an arcade before I was born.
Wow.
So he was
You
like,
knew.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
We would go with my buddy Tasty D Money, shout out, and Minxie Bwops.
nice.
We would head to this arcade and spend the entire day there.
Oh.
Do some mini golf at one point, maybe some laser tag at Qzar if we were feeling it down the road.
Feeling spicy.
But the arcade was the place, and
Yeah.
the same thing. We would do the $100 and we would just fill our pockets with quarters
Oh,
and
man.
run around with our like belts tightened so that our pants didn't come down.
Yeah,
in the middle of it
cargo
all.
pants
that
on.
sounds right.
Running from as many, trying to do every fucking game we could at this
Yeah.
place. So Scandia was the way to go, and then eventually I have now graduated to this place called the Epicenter in Santa Rosa, which is a barcade. It's an arcade,
yes.
a bowling alley,
Mhm.
a restaurant. It's an adult
Of
arcade.
course.
It's called the Epicenter. It has
Yeah.
everything.
You play naked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
No,
they
I get
have
that.
now they have VR there, which since my eye surgery, I can do for the
You can
first time
do.
in my life.
Plastic
How
eyeballs.
is it?
It's a great. I've been missing out. This has been. I'm so mad I couldn't do it for so long, but it was wonderful. So we'll get into that. But Scandia is my mecca.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
Caitlin,
you're next.
the
So
second youngest oldest.
yes.
What you got?
All those words.
Why are you
Tell
coming
us about
at
the
us?
Midwest.
Why are you coming at us for California?
How did the
Because she
Midwest
had
treat
none
you?
of it.
Well,
No electronics.
basically. So I went to a Chuck E. Cheese's, I think around my grandma's house, because
Yeah.
And that was the match.
in Indiana, there just wasn't a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
There just wasn't. If you went to like a putt-putt place or like an arcade, they were very separate. Like
Mhm.
that is the whole
You
business.
go to a putt-putt
just
place,
putt-putt.
or you go to
You
an
go
arcade
to an
place.
arcade. And the only type of arcade that we had in our very small town in the middle of farmland central
Yeah.
was Mr. Gaddy's.
Mr. Gaddy's?
Mr.
I was gonna say Mr.
Gaddy's.
Daddy.
No.
Nope.
Mr.
No, Tom. Mr. Gaddy's. Gattis.
Shout out.
I love that place. Basically, you walk in and it's like pizza buffet.
Oh, well,
Like
I mean, sold.
pizza buffet. That's
Yeah.
where you start.
A pizza.
Unlimited soft drinks. Get all loaded up, sugared up,
Mhm.
and then your parents hang out in the front. And then you go through this little hallway that has all these like claw machines and stuff that like line the halls.
Mhm.
And then you go in and it's a full like arcade.
I'm so hungry
And
right now
there's
for
like
pizza buffet.
I know.
We need to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
And then there's like a you know like how McDonald's has like a play place?
Yeah.
Imagine that times like 50. And then there's that
That's a
in
lot of
Mr.
balls.
Gaddy's. There's a ball pit, there's like an
Tube
obstacle
Town.
course.
We had a place
There's
called Tube
tubes
Town.
and stuff. And then
Built
That sounds
right
like,
next
that sounds
to
like a bad online flash game.
It was. It was basically
Tube
like
Town.
like a 4-story football field of
man.
like what's outside
that
McDonald's.
sounds horrifying
Jeez.
and amazing.
It was. We lost a lot of friends.
so much.
Yeah, I bet.
I feel like so much
That sounds
pus
right.
built up
You ever
there.
see that
Oh,
video
don't
of
talk
that
about that.
kid who jumps on the nets and he just disappears?
Yes.
That was what this place
That
was.
was definitely what's
That
the
kid
name of
died.
those
Who
things?
knew?
No.
It's the Starlight
Hopefully
Pit
not.
for children.
Oh, God.
something zone is what those were called.
Fun zone?
Because no, it was
It's
D.
not
I mean, that is a
Zone.
place, but
That's a place, but it was
It's
like a
called Tube
D zone or something. I don't remember.
Drop zone.
Drop zone.
You
No.
drop forever.
Discovery Zone.
But yes,
Oh.
that was it. That
Yeah,
was
we
it.
had a Discovery
Oh my
Zone
God.
too.
Discovery
Yes.
Zone.
I
Anyway,
got you. The dinosaur was a mascot.
so
Anyway,
you
Yeah.
go in. There's like this giant play place, and then like on your right is all these the like toys and everything of like what can you accomplish? What can you accomplish by getting tickets? And then you have to figure out which
Wow.
machines give you tickets because some of them were like
Yeah.
They're
How
just
do
for
you use
fun.
them?
They're just for
weird circus like attractions
Yeah.
that you don't know why it's a game, but you're
Well, you're
throwing
just like,
balls
oh,
into someone's mouth.
fun. Okay.
can
It
I
was
ask a
weird.
question?
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about like the ticket games?
I think
Yeah.
we should.
Oh,
I think
of
we're
course.
gonna.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
an RS episode.
here's the thing,
Yeah.
Josh. You have to understand. I come from a family of carnies, and I have what my dad and I call carny luck. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit.
Okay,
Ah.
cool.
But anyway, so Gaddy's was like all the in the town that I lived in, all that we really had. Like I only went to arcades if we were visiting my grandparents in Ohio or when I was in college, high school and college, and could drive 30 minutes to the next town over because there was a laser tag place that had like DDR and like 10 machines. So that was like kind of as far as you go. So when I was hearing like bumper cars and water bumper things, I'm just like,
go-karts and water bumper.
whatever. But like
It was go water.
Go water.
It was a lot of
putts,
go water.
Go water putts.
It
Like
was race car, go kart,
Yeah.
while
Water polo.
mini golfing.
but yeah, that stuff was just like they were not all in the same place. Like it just didn't happen. And
So
I was
we just explained heaven.
devastated. Yeah, you explained heaven to me.
Y'all, we should go to Scandia.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
I'm down.
I want to play the games.
All right, Tom, what
Yeah,
you got?
Tom. Tell us.
So
Young Tom. Baby Tom.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one here, right? 1991.
Yeah.
Baby.
I feel like Chuck E. Cheese at that time had become already disgusting and gross.
By the time you
Uh,
were old enough to play arcade games?
Well, by the time I was like 6, I was like, I don't want to go there. It smells and it's weird. I wanted to go there because
Interesting.
everyone had
I mean,
been
to be
going
fair,
there.
their mascot's a rat, which is a pretty bold choice for a food chain.
Well, no, it was more like the machines were always sticky and bullshit
yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah.
So like
probably never
going
changed.
going there was fun, especially like for the first time and going. I think the first time I went to was for Freddie, and he was my close friend and my oldest
Fun
friend
time,
now.
Freddy.
Yeah. Fun, funny, and fancy Freddie.
Spent 5 nights there.
Yeah, we did, and we survived. But yeah, so Chuck E. Cheese was our first one, and I think the only thing I really liked out of it was probably the fucking cheese pizza. But then
Pepperoni.
graduating from that, there was a mall in San Jose that we used to go to. It's called the Great Mall, and
Shout out to the Great Mall.
if you think of if you actually knew about it, it's an outlet mall, so it's shit mall, right? But they actually installed a van skate park there. And it was cool because then we
wow.
would see cool, dope ass skaters, fucking skate, and like every once in a while you get a celebrity skater. But they had an installation where it was an arcade. So air hockey was like my shit for a long time. And then playing a lot of
air
games
hockey.
there. And that was like, so you're at the mall, and the mall had the theater and
This
stuff
is
like that.
just like screaming, I live in California
And
to
then
me.
the mall
Really?
outside
Which is so cool.
outside
but like,
of the theater had a sushi restaurant too. So like I could spend a whole day there.
Yeah.
But
This sounds like a great place.
this sounds amazing.
the Great Mall was my favorite mall.
It was a great mall.
It was a great mall. And then when I moved to Sacramento, we also had a Scandia, but I never really liked it.
Oh,
Like
Really?
maybe yours was shitty.
So it could have been, and that's 100% because like we had all the same thing: batting cage, go karts, all that
Laser
shit.
tag.
Laser tag, arcade, and I never called it putt putt. I've only heard putt putt since I moved to LA.
Miniature golf. Yeah.
Only
Miniature
mini
golf.
golf.
Yeah.
Mini golf.
Same
Yeah.
golf.
It's just mini golf. And that was more of like when you were in high school and you were going on a date with the girl, you take her to Scandia. And so, like, all the teachers were like, "Oh, you take her to Scandia and all that shit." I'm like, you shouldn't know about my business, by the way.
And then we're gonna go to the drive-in.
Yeah, and so, but then most of the time I spent hanging in arcades were actually going to a bowling alley, and I can't actually remember the name of the bowling alley at this point of time. Like, I know it was next to the Hofbrau.
Like in New Brunswick or
And-
something.
Hofbrau.
It was next to the fucking Hofbrau, where like if you're bold enough to go and try to see the food, the food's really good. But anyways,
to Hofbrau.
it was a bowling alley that had alcohol, but also had like
Is
little
this
parties.
a place that's in that area?
Yeah.
And
It's Northern California.
and
Chain.
in there they had like laser tag as well as an arcade, and I spent most of my time and spent a lot of my bones just playing a lot of fucking DDR.
Yes.
But
You
then-
strike
Oh
me
my
as a
god,
DDR.
But
so
then,
much DDR.
Like, so once our friends started having cars, then we all wanted to go to fucking John's Incredible Pizza. And that place, like, we were like, what is this place? It's an all-you-can-eat pizza bar, right? And so we're like, what the fuck is this? And it was all in Roseville. We're like, oh, Roseville. Well, you go there, and it's all family quiet and shit, but it's a giant-ass arcade, right? The weird thing is that on the two corners of the room, like all in the back, two corners, there are
Like
like
curtains.
they're like giant like amusement park rides.
what?
So there's like a
What?
roller coaster in the fucking spot, and we used to go there all the time. So like
Like a big roller coaster, or like a little
Like a
roller?
mini coaster.
like one enough to
like
like,
that just goes woo. woo.
so there's a little one that goes woo woo in a circle,
Yeah.
and then there's one that's kind of like it's like
Like
a
Santa Monica
tree,
Pier
and you can hold
size.
on, and you ride in little capsules, and you spin the fucking thing, and you're spinning
Oh,
around in
yeah,
this
yeah,
place.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I was like,
Whoa.
how the fuck? What? You guys have an amusement park here in a building? And I was like, so that was that. And then now I think I'm just Dave and Buster's here and there. But that's
Yeah,
It
that's
reminds me of
Yeah.
one of my favorite videos online as well. Is I think it's in the Mall of America where they have like a zip line through the arcade.
Yeah.
And the guy, he's like, my brother's an asshole, and he's acting like he's dead. He's like flailing around
Yeah.
while his body's like careening through an arcade of children.
Wow.
You mentioned mini golf. which
Mhm.
I'm familiar with it. I say putt-putt now because I've been in LA for 8
Putt-putt.
years.
No, I hate it.
So real quick, it's just a test of Northern California, Southern California. What do you call this game?
I call it rock, paper,
scissors.
scissors, or Rochambeau.
Rochambeau. So
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rochambeau is a Northern California thing.
Is it?
I
I've heard
learned.
Rochambeau or rock, paper, scissors. I heard paper, scissors, rock.
Rock, paper, scissors is what everyone here down here calls it. But as someone, I forget who it was, asked me, they're like, what do you call this? And I was like, well, Rochambeau. And they're like, okay, because that's what they're from Northern California. That's what I grew up calling it. But no one here knows that.
Yeah.
No?
So it's
Yeah.
just one of those weird, like, even within California, there's the
Well,
regional things
I mean,
of like putt-putt and mini
They're the
golf.
hardcore LA people who are like, hella is not a word. I'm like, fuck you, hella is hella.
I
a word.
remember when hella was born.
Yeah.
One hella
In the
of a word.
early 2000s, I went to an acting school that was like a California statewide, and people were like, man, that's hella cool. And everybody that in Southern California was like, what the hella is that?
And you're like, no, wrong.
Um,
They're like, do you mean challah?
Well, there's actually a word called
Jewish
hellacious.
bread.
There's actually a word called hellacious, which means a lot of.
Oh.
So you can say that's hellaciously.
Okay.
But the bowling alley is country club lanes.
There it is.
CCL.
We had ours was
Wow.
Nave Bowl. RIP. It got tore down for a Safeway.
Oh.
We had Cosmic Bowling, which I like
Mhm.
totally had all of my memories come back because they would do like black light bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Super
had a
fucking
music.
tiny like arcade, but
Smash Mouth.
super Midwest. It reeked of smoke.
I believe
constantly.
Pickwick still does Cosmic Bowling.
Do they?
Yeah.
I wonder if the one just down the street from our studio,
Yeah.
What
Oh,
about the one
yeah.
in the Big Lebowski?
that doesn't exist
Oh,
anymore.
the gem. Jewel bowling.
Yeah.
I just know Pickwick does.
Nice.
That's
So moving on, let's talk about some of our favorite arcade games that we used to be
Yes.
playing. All this stuff. Which one took up all your money?
Pinball.
Pinball. Which kind
I
of
was
pinball?
a pinball kid.
Explain it.
So Jolie, shout out to my dad again.
Draw a story.
We are a pinball family. That was his jam.
You a
When
pinball
he
wizard?
got an arcade, his favorite was pinball. It's because there's a lot of skill involved.
Space
in it.
Cadet pinball on,
And
on Windows.
getting the
forever.
high score is like within the arcade community is a very prestigious thing.
and prodigious.
So my favorite one was the Addams Family pinball or the Indiana Jones pinball. Those were my two that I would play if there was a Indiana Jones or Addams Family also Terminator. Those are my
I
jams.
like Terminator one.
Those
yeah.
three pinballs, if they were in the arcade anywhere, that's where a majority of my money was going.
Stacking your quarters on the
Yeah,
side.
I
like-
was not. I mean, I'm into all the other games very much so, but something about pinball is very reward. Maybe it's the ADD in me, but it's very rewarding with all the lights, the colors. You have to do like 6 things at once. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
my jam.
How blasphemous does it sound that I don't like those pinball machines, but I did spend a lot of time playing on the computer one. You know what I'm talking about? The space
I do
one?
the Astro one,
Yeah.
which people found out recently was actually just a trial for like a larger game with like 4 other pinballs.
Yo,
weird.
Yo,
Yeah.
if I don't know if you know this, but if you upgrade the bumpers 4 times, they become blue, green, and red.
Oh, that's cool.
And so
No.
like you can get fucking. So anyways, I'm
anyway,
essential in that. But I was just saying, I was like, is
that's fine.
w-
Whatever.
I like the pinball
Here's the thing.
machines.
Pinball is not for everybody.
Well, do you
I
get-
know
do,
that.
Do your rocks get? Do your socks still get rocked off when you're playing like the digital ones?
No.
So it has
No,
to be the
it's-
physical,
It's like
the tactile.
it's about all
There's
the
something
feel
about
of
it, right?
Yeah, like when you pull the trigger for the ball and you feel all the like little bumps and moves of the machine.
I mean,
Yeah.
and tilting it doesn't hurt it.
You don't tilt.
Well, the weird thing to
Do
me
not
is like,
tilt it.
you know,
Tilted.
you're surrounded by video games, right?
Yeah.
And then it's the one thing that like is kind of like a real life video game in a weird way,
Yeah.
where it's like the lights and the funny
It's
noises.
It's very
and the,
carnival.
Yeah.
And it's like I come from a family of
and
carny
things
folk.
move.
On my dad's side, my great grandma was a burlesque dancer in the
Mhm.
carnival, and then my grandpa grew up in the carnival. My dad grew up in the carnival, running games and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So like, we should all go to the carnival together because I can win us some prizes
Pinball
on all those
sounds-
games.
Can you win me a teddy bear?
Yeah, so
Okay.
my dad and I, we have carny luck. So with pinball and stuff like that, that's what we kind of attribute it to. It's like
Yeah.
the same kind of thing.
Pinball
it's finding
sounds are
the
very
gimmick.
distinct too. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like like reassuring or warm, like comforting to hear
Yeah,
pinball noises.
and
when
the
you've
fun
done
thing
wrong,
is-
it tells you.
The fun thing is, it's the same sound that's used for a lot of video games, like city builders and stuff like that, or,
Oh,
or
yeah.
strategy games. If you build an arcade in the game, the
It'll
first
just
thing you
make
hear
those
is that
noises.
doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo,
Yeah.
which is the arcade sound or the pinball sound.
Very distinct.
Did I tell you that I'm gonna be the voice of a pinball machine?
No.
Is this a friend
Which
EA
one?
thing?
Ding, ding, ding.
This is a friend. Yeah, I can't
Oh,
say
okay.
anymore yet.
that-
But yeah,
They're making all the
but
noises.
it's
So we have
not
to go
it's
find
not
it.
a digital thing.
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
a real
actual
one.
cabinet.
Then we got to go play it.
Yeah,
Because
oh, yeah.
I still to this day will spend most of my money on pinball
One of
if
my
I can.
one of the studios that I work at has a pinball machine in the kitchen.
What?
Fuck. No.
That sounds dangerous.
It's
Yeah.
literally on
And
my
it's
like
free,
list
too.
of 5 things if I ever came into a ton of money that I would buy is I would buy myself one pinball machine.
oh my
Mhm.
god.
We have a little segment for
And
that
I would
later.
do I think
So-
I would do the Adams Family one was my personal like top list.
So when
Uh,
Nerd On has our own building, are we gonna
Adams
have
Family
a,
Arcade.
That's
Okay.
got to be one of there.
Okay.
Please,
Yeah.
because that's my favorite
We'll take
one.
a note of each of
Because
our
when
favorites.
you get to a certain score, it plays the theme song and like I don't know, it's a blast.
Caitlin, what was the games that you played
Mm.
that took up all your coins?
I did a lot of claw machine.
Claw machine. What kind? Is it the
Okay.
2-finger, the 3-finger?
Okay.
What kind of
the 3-finger?
Okay, three-
and
three
I was
prong.
always after cute stuffed animals.
cute stuffed
Like,
animals?
I there was a time where I came home with 6 bags.
So like Toy Story
so
1,
good
your favorite
success.
scene is the claw scene
The
with all
claw.
the-
Actually, it made me
The
very
claw.
uncomfortable because I was like, "Oh no,
That's me.
am I upsetting them?"
No, but they love it, right?
So,
like
like-
it was very rewarding because they all want to be
The
chosen by the
claw.
Well, I
claw.
was like,
I
bullshit.
know.
There's no way that claw has that much grip strength. Get out of here
I
with
know.
that
Did
noise.
did
to
you
grab all 3 of them.
Did
Yeah,
you find
right?
any
fight it.
strategies, any techniques that you were like, this is what you go for, how you do this?
I mean, yes, but it's more of like if you don't have that like depth perception very much, which is funny because I run into things and all that trip on stuff
Yeah.
all the time. But like if you don't have that depth perception down really hard and you don't like take the time to do it, even though the timer is going down, then you're not gonna get
Well, there's
anything
like tricks,
ever.
right? It's not always about necessarily
I
grabbing
actually-
it straight on. It's
Right,
like, how
it's
do I
about
nudge it? How do I
how do
lift
I-
the shoulder or
Exactly.
whatever?
I used to know this guy. Shout out to Elmer. He
Elmer, you have the coolest friend names, by the way. Jesus
true.
Christ.
You know,
Elmer, Buzz,
Buzz.
my God.
Okay, so Elmer was so good at the claw machines.
Yeah.
He'd be like, he'd go up to a machine and be like, "What do you want?" I want that. He'd be like, and it was just like a
Who's it get?
savant, and he could just no matter what,
Maybe he
he
was-
could just click.
He
boom,
was, he
boom.
was talking to the machine.
Yeah.
Just
It was
the
like I'd
claw
never
machine
seen
whisperer.
that before in my life.
Wow.
I used to have friends who like we would do it like we would tag team. So I'd be like, okay, I'm running the claw, but you go on the side and tell me where I need to go. And he'd be like, this way, that way.
Well,
You know, just do a
co-pilot.
click, do a click.
Oh no,
click.
no. I would like even though the timer is going down, I like move, and then go around and be like,
You would
Okay.
play all parts. Yeah, you
Yeah.
make sure.
Nice.
No
Ding,
wingman
ding,
needed.
ding.
So,
Yeah.
was there
Claw
one
machines.
thing that you really loved that you're like, I fucking got it? Was there something that you felt super?
Or something you never could get.
Yeah. Would you have a
No,
great
The
it-
white
one that
buffalo?
got away.
Yeah.
I was less like specific goal oriented. I was just like, I want to do it. I just want to do it. It
You
was
want-
more about
This is Pokemon.
yeah, it was fucking Pokemon. I just
Catch
want
'em
to
all.
catch them all.
Okay.
And also DDR.
Okay.
DDR is what
Which
helped
DDR?
me.
Which DDR?
So
So for everyone at home listening, there was like 4 major console ones at the arcade.
IDD did not
Ultimate.
play that game.
It was DDR Max 1,
I did it definitely.
DDR
DDR Max
didn't
2,
play that game.
DDR Revolution,
Revolution was the main
and that was the
one.
green one.
Yeah,
That was the green
Revolution
one.
was one of the ones that I played the most of.
Okay.
But DDR is like I got so into DDR because of Mr. Gaddy's
Mm-hmm.
that we ended up buying the game
Mr. Daddy's?
Gaddy
And the dance pads.
Mr. Gotti!
and played at home, and that's what like helped us lose weight in high school.
Hell
Like
yeah.
that was like intensely into DDR.
Did you, okay, rails, no rails?
No
You
rails.
gotta have rails.
No.
No. Okay, I'll say this.
You mean
a lot
holding
of,
on to?
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of
okay,
the,
never mind.
I think a lot of the top scoring people use rails.
Yeah, of course.
But then a lot of like the people who actually do cool shit don't use rails.
Yeah. No, I remember at the laser tag place in Bloomington, there was this guy who would like, he had done the same song so many times that he would leave it on like medium or hard and dance between the two of
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, when I say people do 2, I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
too
that's
much.
like-
That's
you
unnecessary.
become a god.
But it looked so cool.
well, every time
Did
I,
it though?
But I think
It
about
did.
the South Park bit where it's like,
Did it
what do you
though?
mean
It
dancing?
did.
Dancing where a machine doesn't tell you how to dance? That's weird. And I'm like, yeah.
I
I
love
had
Back
a
to the
friend.
Future. You have to use your hands.
I had a friend that was shout out to Andrew, who was
Shout out
in
to
like a
Andrew.
DDR
Kind of a cool
group
name.
and like was like competitive DDR
Whoa.
player. Yeah, it's
Oh
pretty
my
cool.
God.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it is
Competitive.
a thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
you
even-
who
don't
is
even
not-
start.
I'm
Hey,
not-
if there can be a Smash Brothers tournament, there can
Yeah.
be
I will say
DDR.
this. I'm going to say not in like a, ooh, you're dumb, but it's like, if you go,
No,
to
I'm uncultured.
If there's,
I had no idea.
Every convention we've been to, there is a DDR competition happening.
Oh yeah, for
every
sure.
single convention we go to, there's a DDR battle happening.
Mhm.
Guaranteed.
Battle.
Oh,
battle.
yeah. No,
To the
it's,
death.
it's intense.
It's fucking crazy.
Josh, before you go, I just want to throw this out there. There is an Adams Family pinball machine for sale. Averages about $8,000. So if we could start saving
Easy
up
peasy.
donations,
You can donate now.
nerd.io.
Could you imagine that in here? Like,
Oh yes,
we'll
I did.
figure it out.
Dun, 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 dun.
We'll figure it
Oh,
out.
Man, just want to throw that out there. Our next goal is $8,000.
We don't need cameras. We need a pinball machine.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean-
I like your face.
I mean,
that's like that dumb middle age, like married shit that
There's a
happens.
Lord
It's
of the
like-
Rings one that I used to play too.
we get some.
I
mad
really like the
street cred.
Spider-Man 2 one.
The Spider-Man 2 one's good. I also want to give a shout out to the. Did you ever play the Star Trek Next Generation one?
No.
Hard as fuck, but beautiful
I think
machine.
I played the Pirates of the Caribbean one.
Pirates of the Caribbean
I
is
like
a really
that.
popular one too. I believe, and y'all can call me out on this if I'm wrong. The Addams Family one is the top-selling pinball machine.
You're
of all
wrong.
Time.
Oh, I don't know.
I could be wrong on that.
I
It's either
believe
that
it.
one or there's a Mars attack, not Mars attacks, but Attack from Mars.
Mhm.
One that might outsell it, but
Quick question for y'all.
March 1992, best-selling pinball machine of all time.
Wow.
Adam Family.
You were right.
I believe it.
Anyway, so your question, Caitlin.
thank
you all.
I'll be
Placed it gingerly. Yep.
How did you all feel about the driving/racing games?
I was just a
Cruising
can I-
USA.
can I-
Hold on,
will you
hold on.
let me go?
Let
We'll
us
get
go
there.
through.
I know, I know,
Jesus.
sorry.
Will you let me go?
No.
Witness
Shout out
is
to my
childhood.
wife for Cruising World. That's her only
I
game
was
she ever
just-
plays.
Okay,
So
so,
go ahead.
I was looking at everything. I was doing research for this to just remind myself and go down memory lane. And
To take someone else's
I
childhood.
realized that I spent a lot of time on things like Cruising USA.
Yep.
And like the ones that
It's like
you
I
you'd
knew.
sit in, and
Yeah.
like my
and you're
buddy
just constantly
Josh and I,
pumping gas.
we're just like, I mean,
Auto or
sometimes
manual?
Sometimes you got.
I do a little bit of both.
Depends on how spicy you're feeling. I think.
Yeah,
I'm a manual man. when it
Bonnie-
comes-
Bonnie-
Not in real life.
Right. Right. Of
We'll
course.
go
not.
on, Josh.
Bonnie's always like, "Oh, you're a good driver." Racing games, like some of the racing games nowadays, like for console, I'm like, that is so intense.
Mhm.
But I love racing games. Not for some reason, Mario Kart. It's a different story.
Well, it's not really a racing game.
but a
to me.
racing game like Cruisin' or like Ridge Racer was a console thing. But Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, the cabinets that you sat in,
My
it was
favorite
just so much
was,
fun.
Hydro Thunder.
Hydro. Oh, the
You
fucking jet
guys.
skis.
Yeah.
I just
Caitlin's blowing
I
up.
just realized why I was never good at those games.
Because you're a bad driver.
She has no depth perception.
I immediately put the gas to the floor the whole
Oh,
time.
So you'd always spin out at the beginning, and
Pedal
then
to the middle.
and then the hot girl's like, "Why?"
Her flag, she just
Like,
drops them.
why?
no, like I could
um,
only get like so far, and it immediately crashed because I can't take a turn. But like at the time, I was
That's
like,
why you go manual,
I'm going
baby.
as fast as I can.
Drop it back
What
down
am
to
I
one.
supposed
Yep.
to
This
do?
isn't Fast and Furious 1 and 2. It's not a
Drift.
drag race.
That's my whole lifetime.
Well, see,
actually,
she lives
no,
her
it's
life
not.
a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we have no friends. It's familiar.
Well, you could skip Tokyo Drift.
No, you
and go-
cannot. So Josh, so what were name some titles? So Cruising USA.
to be perfectly
Cruisin'
honest, I
World?
think Cruisin', like
Cruisin'
the
World is a big
Cruisin'
one.
series, they had
Okay.
Cruisin'
Yeah.
World, they
Yeah.
had Cruisin' USA.
okay.
I think they even had like Cruisin' Africa or Wildlife or something
Next
like that.
one, Cruising the Universe.
Yeah, Cruising the Universe. I mean, there were some
Mario
space
Kart.
levels. But no, I just remember that's where I would spend my quarters, I think, the most because it was so tactile. You were in it.
Mhm.
Like,
But also the speakers are right behind you. 'cause
yeah,
they're in the
and like
fucking-
I was thinking about like, okay, so you also got like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cabinet.
Oh yeah,
uh,
the 4-player. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Turtles in Time.
House of Dead,
good.
like
Mhm.
you know,
Oh.
either the foot pedal
Oh well,
or you
let's get to Time Crisis.
Yeah,
May
Time-
we?
Oh, we,
Like,
we
That's
shall.
the shit.
either A, you had the foot pedal reload or crouch, or you
Yeah.
had the like
Shoot off
you just
screen.
go.
Yeah, just reload off screen.
Dude, someone has a video of Tasty D Money and I, shout out, of us so into a game we don't notice they're filming, but we're in tandem, and we're doing it at the exact same time reloads, and it's depressing a
Whoa.
little bit because that's what we're good at in life.
I never.
but
so-
also really cool.
So for everyone not watching it and just listening, they're doing the reload off the screen
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
hand. I did the hold the gun with my left hand and then use my index finger to slam the trigger as fast as I can. And so that I'm pretty much using a pistol as a machine gun.
Oh my god!
And then I'm just shooting off.
for
I feel like
accuracy
I've
rating.
seen you
I'm
do
not.
that.
I'm not going for. I'm killing everything as fast as I can
Oh my
because like I
God.
play by myself most of the time, so I'm just doing that and just so that technique. Obviously, you're going for accuracy. Mine was just
Okay,
like
I've
that
gotta
was
ask.
just the normal.
Since you bring this up, I've got to ask: has anybody done the dual pistol?
Yeah.
Oh, play
two ways.
So
Playing
there's
two-player
I believe
by
it's
yourself.
again another Terminator game where you have the 2 SMGs mounted, and there you can only like turn them. So yeah, I'd put them and then just grab onto both SMGs and just go ham.
Have you
But
guys
I would
seen?
love doing that
Have
with
you guys
Time
seen
Crisis.
the?
Oh, would you?
the spinoff of?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys played the spinoff of Time Crisis?
No.
Crisis Zone.
No.
No.
Where
Wait,
you're in a
seen it.
helicopter.
No.
You're in a,
I've
it's
seen
a
it.
helicopter
I
game.
haven't played it.
It is, to me, much more enjoyable because you're just holding on a trigger and just shooting robots.
Well, there's also another that reminds me of. There's a Jurassic Park cabinet.
Yes.
Well, I
That's
was gonna
like
bring that up,
driving
yeah.
and
That's
shooting.
Yes.
The fucking
Like
shit.
you can have a
That's
you
still
can be
around.
One.
It's not there used to be. It's still there,
Or
and it
the
is
Dave
at
and
the
Buster's.
epicenter.
Did you guys play
go on.
the Jurassic Park game?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we just said.
I was going to mention that.
The cabinet game?
Wait,
That's what I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
With the car.
That's what I just
He just said there was a Jurassic Park game in a cabinet.
Caitlin.
And you'd be driving along shooting.
I thought you were talking about Time Crisis.
No.
He
Caitlin,
said there's a Jurassic
Says-
Park
Caitlin,
game.
have you played the Jurassic Park game?
Anyway.
Okay. So Ali.
So there was
What
a
did you hear me say?
Well, no.
I
'cause
did not.
There was this Jurassic Park game.
So no, Ali.
I'm just gonna live with all my regret behind.
so that's
this
actually-
book.
So where do you spend some of your coins?
So for me, it was a lot of times. I remember specifically was the same exact Chuck E. Cheese, and it was the same exact Simpsons cabinet.
Like,
Oh,
this is the one where you can
yeah.
combine the family members and you could do dual attacks.
Wait,
I don't know if I ever
what?
got that far,
Okay.
or if I was good
It's
enough
The
at the game to get
Simpsons.
that far. But it was the brawler. It was
Okay.
a side scroll brawler.
Did you ever play with someone else, or were you playing by yourself?
Sometimes with my brother, but I can't. I think it was mostly by myself. I don't really remember socializing too much with that stuff. Because
We're talking about your childhood, not right now.
yeah, deep therapy session stuff. But aside from that, Cruisin' World was huge. Anything that like was really loud
Yeah.
and like maybe had some 4D elements to it, and you could just sit behind and in the bucket seat and all that stuff. Like that was epic to me when I was like a teenager. So. Cruisin' World, huge fan of that. But the game that I kept going back to, I know this was in Vegas. I want to say it was in Luxor. If not, then it was like in the I think it was actually
Wheel of
Bellagio.
Fortune.
It was one of those arcades
Ooh.
in like the deep parts of the basement level of the casino. Would be Hydro Thunder, and it was like 4 or 5 next to each other or whatever
What's
it was.
Hydro
That's the
Thunder?
s-
So
racing
Hydro
game.
Thunder is a racing game. It came out on
I could never
N64
get
eventually, but it was jet ski, right?
Oh.
I
Yeah.
could never.
Oh,
I was never good
yeah.
at the motorcycle or jet ski.
Yeah.
Motorcycle,
type of
I would say.
things.
Okay, so in terms of difficulty, it would definitely be motorcycle, then Hydro, whatever you called
Thunder,
it,
yeah.
Hydro Thunder. Because there were so many more ramps,
Mm.
Oh.
and getting those ramps got you speed boosts. And if you didn't get those speed boosts, you would never finish a race. That's how hard it was. Like other games, like
Yeah.
you finished the race, but you're in 8th place. Who cares? But it's like this one, no, you didn't even fucking finish, loser. I'm like, Mom,
Okay.
I spent a whole $1.
Okay, no, it wasn't. It was like this fancy like boat or something. But basically, that's what it looked like. I'm showing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Wait,
You
no,
can
yeah,
look
I've
up
seen
Hydro
those.
Thunder, but you would stack them next to each other. And that was my favorite game because
So
the
intense.
That's a good
water.
one.
And I remember like there was like an LAX level. This could be MotoGP game, but I remember an
And
LAX
that's
level where it
what
was like
inspired you to move to LA.
it was like a post-apocalyptic LA where you would like drive or like surf by like the big LAX sort of like half dome thing that's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty epic. So
Escape from-
that was a huge one for me. But my favorite of all time, I think, has to be Jurassic Park. Like that's
yeah.
just the one I put because I mean,
Have
come
you
on,
played it?
a billion times? Like you're.
Love you, Caitlin.
Well, after this, we'll talk about Jurassic Park.
Regret.
But
Burgerts.
but it's one of those things where you're completely removed from the rest of the arcade because you're
Well, it's
in
quiet.
the cabinet.
You could totally make out.
And there's like curtains.
There's curtains,
You
right? Yeah,
could.
curtains.
I definitely played it with my crush.
So you're
in grade school.
isolated and you're in it. So it's like a whole different experience. And that was just so
It's the porn
fun.
music coming on.
Yeah, but like with
That's
the
your
driving,
porn
That's your
music?
porn music?
Yeah,
But I
have you
remember
guys never
that
heard like
was-
bow, chicka, bow, bow,
Yeah, I've heard that,
or-
but not ER. That's what it sounds like. Oh my
Some
god.
places. The problem with that cabinet though is that one, it's very popular, so it was very
Oh, it took
easy to.
forever
It
to
was
get
hard
to
to find it because there was only one. It's
Yep.
like what genius didn't figure out to put like 5 of these things in an arcade, right? sometimes it'd be $1 if you're lucky. This was back when I was a kid. But sometimes it'd be like $2
Was it in
at
the
some
30s?
places.
Yeah.
30s, yeah. And that would piss me off sometimes. I'm like, man, this isn't.
You had to play with two
There was
people.
an extra room of
if you wanted
separation.
to afford it, you had to play with someone else.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the second player would have to
Pony up
pony
another
up
$2.
as well. Like they
Yeah.
like. if
Was
you're-
it?
Well,
Oh yeah,
nowadays-
2 per person.
The
Well, nowadays-
high-end games are very expensive.
Yeah,
Huh.
Yeah.
but I'll be excited when I found it for $1, and I'm like, yeah, let's play this. But it would still limited compared to the quarter.
Right. Oh yeah.
Quarter games.
The
so.
only real, I'll say, button game I would play,
Yeah.
because most of the games were either the gun ones or I played a lot of the ticket games. But if we're talking joystick and buttons, there was only one game that was right for me. And it was-
Marvel versus
And it was
Capcom.
a 6-player experience.
What?
It's an awkward fucking cabinet.
Oh, is it the circle thing?
No, it's a beautiful game. It's 6 players and it's X-Men.
Oh.
Of
It's
the
course
X-Men
it
arcade.
Makes sense.
It was Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, I believe Nightcrawler, and I can't remember who else.
And
but
you were
Where was
always
it?
Nightcrawler?
if I could, otherwise I was Colossus.
I don't
and
think
it's-
I've ever seen that.
Oh my god. Scandia, shout out.
6-player arcade cabinet.
I believe
It's
so.
big.
I'm
It's big. It's like
sensing
a
a
half
game
circle.
day.
Yeah.
It's a cabinet.
Is
but
that
it's
it
half
right here?
circle.
Let me
I think
see.
so. It's by Konami.
Let me see it. Let me
That's
see it, baby.
massive. Everybody, look up.
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
look
yeah,
up
that's
X-Men
it.
arcade
Who
cabinet.
was it? It's Cyclops,
Oh, I fucking
Wolverine,
can't tell. It's
Storm,
and
Colossus.
some woman, some white.
Oh,
looking woman.
Storm?
It has
Orange hair.
Starfire or something like
yeah.
that.
Oh.
Anyway, it was a great game, and it was me
One of
being the
those.
X-Men kid, and the Wolverine had the orange suit.
Yeah.
The orange and yellow.
Yep.
You can see Adamantium
Orange and
Mirage.
black.
It's such a good game, and it made way for a lot of the other X-Men games that ported to consoles later on. But like that was just like birthday parties. Like I would invite
Ooh, it's a white.
5 other
It's like a
friends.
wide
Big friends.
screen.
And this is all
That's
we're
all we
doing.
played.
It's
It's beautiful.
Wow.
If you can find it somewhere, please play it. Get 5 friends together and play through it with all of
wanna
them.
own
'cause It's
that.
amazing.
What about you,
For
Tom?
me, I
I'm
think
gonna look up who the other
the
character was.
game.
Yes.
I think I spent the most money on. I don't know. It was between a lot actually because I would go play a lot to get tokens and get something prizes and all that stuff. But like I think physical game. I spent so much money on. God blessed air hockey. I
Oh,
fucking
yes.
loved air hockey.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
could see that.
Because I liked
Cha-ching,
the competitiveness, okay, loser, get out, and then, fight the next
Wow.
guy
Yeah,
and all that
yeah.
shit. And that's how it was between our friends. It was like, oh, who's the best? And then it's like, cool, he won once. That person has beaten everybody. Then we move on to another game. But then I think the actual non-prize winning token thing game, I spent a lot of money on either DDR to get better at it, and then I did the racing games, but I was stuck between 2.
Mm.
And the 2 that I played a lot was Initial D,
Mhm.
and then Initial D 3, and
Need
then
for Speed.
Maximum Tune 3.
Yeah.
And these were games that you had to get a card. So you'd spend like $1.50 just to get a card.
Ugh.
And I was like, a fucking lot of money if you're a fucking
Yeah.
kid. But the thing is that your card would
You're a
get printed
fucking
out.
kid.
That's 6 games.
Your card would get printed out at the end of your session.
Yeah.
And then it'd be the card of your character and then the car you drove.
Whoa.
And then it would say
Damn.
this is your card, this is your name, this is what you've done.
It's like
this-
a driver's
and
license.
then
Wow.
every time you insert it in, it'd print
You
out
continue.
a brand new one. And
Oh,
so
cool. So
it
it
would
would
update.
update.
And so it was like the most epic shit ever.
Do you still
'cause,
have one?
I could probably find it.
I want this
These
now.
are pretty dope. And so always my guy, his name was Kenji. I have fucking no idea why. I think it was because of Fort Minor. But I always had a fucking Fair Lady, a Nissan 360. And so because it was fucking sexy, or a Mitsubishi Evo. So those were those kind of games I sunk a lot of time into. But the one game that gave me so many tokens that I think you have to really look at
Tickets
that-
or tokens?
tickets to
Oh,
Turn
yeah.
in
to
for
turn in for
prizes.
prizes. You have to really
tickets.
look at which ones cost the most and which ones get you the most tickets.
Mhm.
And the one that I found that gave me the most tickets for the least amount of money and the least amount of effort was not the swirly thing
Oh,
that
that was
Corey's
my jam.
pointing at. It was skee ball.
Yep.
Skee
I was
ball.
gonna say,
Skee ball is
skee
no-
ball was the
like,
best.
You just gotta get 130 or 100. You get at least 15 tokens out.
Yeah.
And you're
I
cool.
my game for that, getting the most tickets, for some reason, arcade wide, this game is the stupidest thing. So you put the token in and
Oh,
it
is it
drops
the
down, and then it's that
coin
thing
push
that
it?
Yeah.
slide. You find where it's the thickest,
Yeah.
and you just use it
It's
against
kind
it.
of easy.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I love
I would get
those
so
machines.
many
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah.
No matter what arcade I went, it's kind of
I still play
That's
that.
one of them.
Yeah.
That's not cheating.
I
That's
literally,
literally how the
at
machine
At the
works.
end of the
That's true.
night, when you're about to turn in, you're like, cool, I got to get something out of here. So start
Right.
putting so many coins in
Yeah.
it. So like, I'm going to get at least 500
All right, I had the
tickets.
fun. Now to get the tickets.
Yeah.
My
Because you
friend-
see it like it pushes it out and it gets so tight, and then it's like,
I literally this month, the first, I went up to celebrate Tasty D Money's birthday, and him and Nate and I all played that, and I think I got like 400 tokens.
It's
out of it.
wild.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And that gets you like a fucking miniature magnifying
no,
glass.
it gets you one of those like plastic sticky guys that just like drops down
That
the
dies
the
after a
window.
week later.
I don't know about you, but I got a giant foot tall tube of warheads.
For how
So-
much?
Whoa.
Of warheads?
So
Yeah.
I feel like that's at least 1,500.
There's
Oh my
1,000.
god.
Yeah, I
my
was gonna say,
mouth is salivating thinking about the lemon warhead.
Yeah.
A foot tall
you-
tube.
Because that just like the nostalgia just took.
It
Can you
just
bring some
smacked
warheads?
me in the.
Well, I gave it to Dustin for his birthday.
Oh well.
Because
That's fitting.
That sucks.
I
felt
got.
like
I
it's
got.
nice.
Last time I
I'll
went to
go
Dave
back.
and Buster's, I got shot glasses and like cappuccino cups.
That's
I
what
still
would
have
get.
1,000 because I did this thing where you like pull a big wheel and it like
Oh,
spins
yeah.
around,
It's-
and
it's-
I landed on the 1,000.
It's
So I still have another 1,000.
It's the
Wow.
let's make a deal thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Or you know, it Price is Right.
The price is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. The dollar one. Yeah.
It's Dazzler, by the way.
Uh,
Is the last
Dazzler.
X-Men. I never
Dazzler.
played as her, so I didn't know who it was.
Interesting.
no one
I was
did.
either Nightcrawler or Colossus.
No one did nor cared.
Wow.
Except the developers and people who did
There
like
were
them.
6 of us, so someone played as her.
So yeah, that was like the back in the day Luigi. No one
that
plays
was
Luigi.
that had to have been like somebody's favorite because like why not put Rogue or
Yeah.
The other thing
Phoenix,
that I would
yeah.
usually play in arcades was, I mean, my dad was way into pool tables.
Mm.
So that usually a pool table was in the vicinity of arcades. And like
I feel like pool tables.
at one point I was super good, not so much anymore.
I
But
yeah.
I
At
feel
some
like-
point in college, I was like decent.
I feel like pool tables was like kind of like the game like when like all right, I want to go play games that require more skill and not so much money.
Yeah.
And then like it was like I'm trying to be an adult because this is what adults do. But then all of a sudden I realized like there's geometry in this.
Yeah.
I had a C in geometry.
My dad is
I
my
was like,
dad
I
is
hate this.
ridiculous at pool. He has one in his house. Like when he got his new house, he was like, I need to have a room that has my pool table in it. And he would teach me about lines and all that kind of stuff. And it's incredible. But pool table for me, it's fun to like sit with some friends, have a beer on the side, and I don't really care if I win. It's like,
I have two.
oh, it's a suck shot, whatever.
Yeah.
This is fun.
We can
Yeah.
go play pool.
I have
Yeah.
two modes.
Can I?
I blast it as hard as I can, or I tap it very lightly.
I want to, if I can
That's
show
very
my
telling about Tom.
privilege here.
Yes.
One of my favorite Christmases. One of my favorite Christmases, we had a scavenger hunt in my house, and my dad bought a pool table. My mom and dad, shout out. So from when I was like 12 on, we had a pool table out in our garage.
My grandma
Wow.
had a pool table in her house. Like for some reason, pool is important in my family, I guess.
we
Huh.
But it's
almost
just a
did.
fun.
It's important in
We
ours.
almost did. Like we even went to like the stores and like looked through,
Oh
but
wow.
it just never
Wow.
happened.
I
Yeah.
feel like pool is kind of like the working classes like golf.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's the bar game instead of like
'Cause,
let's
yeah.
go to the
That's
country club. But it's like
very apt,
let's go
I'm
to
surprisingly
the country
not
club
as
lanes.
good as I should be for
Yeah,
having grown
no.
up with it.
I
But I'm
should
not
be
bad.
better.
I won't
Yeah.
totally discredit myself. But
I can look at a pool table and go, I can see the lines, but it's the
Sometimes.
follow through.
I'll say it this way:
sometimes.
my dad kicks my ass 100% of
Oh,
the
yeah.
time. So, and then I'll play someone who didn't grow up with pool, and I go, "Oh, I'm not terrible.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, my associations with pool was that like if you played pool,
You were a
It-
vagrant.
you were like at like a bar
Yeah.
and you were like a deadbeat, or
You're
if it
a
was like,
Wolverine.
or you're very very wealthy
So you-
and you have a pool table in your house and it's only the men.
You grew up
Like,
in the Music Man. I got trouble.
You got
Right
trouble,
here,
my
River City.
friends.
With
Right
a
here,
capital
River-
T and it starts rhymes with P and that stands for pool. That's the
That's
whole thing is
actually-
that they're getting a pool table in there, and he's like, "Oh, it's the devil's
That's
word."
actually my favorite musical.
Oh no.
Actually, that kind of
with a
it's a-
capital
it's-
T that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
It's actually a really great way to go into another subject of this conversation is
What are we playing
is
now?
now? What is now is barcades.
Yeah, barcade.
round
like,
one.
The past couple of years, I've been seeing an upswing of barcades.
Can I
Because it's
talk
people
about?
who were kids who grew up in arcades and were like, "I don't want to let go."
Pretty much.
I moved from Sacramento down to LA, and motherfuckers out there be popping off when I fucking left because like
Yeah.
2 years later they're like, "Oh, we're all going to coin op." I was like, "What the fuck? I never fucking want. I want to go to
Epicenter.
coin op."
It's epicenter now.
I was so fucking upset because like now all these places are popping off with like dope look. Like we have one here in LA, at least in North Hollywood, that like I've gone to. It's called the One Up,
Mhm.
And it's cool. It's nice, but it's got
alright,
like
it's alright.
It's tiny.
it's got doesn't have true cabinets. It has ROMs of cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're not truly playing it stuff. And then sometimes there's like software issues, and you're like,
Oh.
Yeah.
But then like like Coin Op, apparently I've never been because my fucking friends at home didn't take me. But they're like, oh yeah, it has real games. I was like,
I think we should do a vlog road trip to Epicenter in Santa Rosa, because that same
would
thing.
be
It was
amazing.
built like 2 years after I moved, and it's an old plane hangar that they turned into this giant. Like it's got restaurants. It's got a Starbucks there, Ollie.
I can get my lattes.
It's
How much
got
White
a
Claw for
VR
Ollie?
cabinet. It's got a 4D ride where you're in the seat and it's moving and
Yes.
you're shooting the screen. But what they have is they have a 4-player cabinet for Halo.
Oh.
And it's an all-new adventure specifically made for this
What?
cabinet. And you're on this, you have like a minigun type of thing,
I want to see this.
and you pick up certain guns like shotguns. You have and then you hop into like a warthog and you're just
And you're on the
blasting
turret.
shit. And it is so much
That
fun.
sounds incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Halo Fire
I have
Team
never
Raven.
heard of this.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Looks like a
Wow.
fucking time machine.
It's
What on earth?
It's a 4-player cooperative Halo game that you're all trying to
I
just
like
get
how
through.
all
it.
I like
these
how the
responses,
cabinet-
What on earth?
Yeah.
Well, the cabinet is like a mini Halo ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone at home, look it up. Look
it
up
up.
Halo Fire Team Raven Cabinet Arcade. It looks like a time machine.
So that is now
Yeah.
my one that, because this
Looks
doesn't,
like a chrono.
they don't have pinball there.
I haven't gone to an arcade in a long
They don't have
It looks
pinball.
like Guy Pearce's time machine.
So at the Epicenter, this is where all my money goes now.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And last time I was there, Nate, shout out to Nate and Tasty Money, we spent like at least $40 on that
Oh
game
Well,
my
we got to go.
God.
We got to play
I was
this.
gonna say,
like,
to beat it.
I was gonna say, so with barcades, but kind of going back into what is the most anyone spent on an arcade?
So the first time I went to the Epicenter was my birthday a couple years back, and I dropped, I think, $200.
Well, I was talking about one game, but sure.
one game.
Oh,
Oh, I don't
because
remember
it
that.
has the card thing.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, okay.
I
So I don't
remember
know.
like
I have an answer for that.
times like you're
It's
talking
also
about.
barcade, so like at some point I don't know.
For me, it absolutely is. I want to say it was Tekken 3.
Okay.
Oh, I know what it is.
Because Tekken 2 was a game that I played for the first time at my buddy's house.
Jin was the
and
dopest.
I didn't have, shout out to Josh. It was middle school. I didn't have a PlayStation. I wanted a PlayStation for Tekken 2. Like that was how I got a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
You
when
want a
Tekken
king?
3 was coming out, like, and Tekken Tag Tournament, I was in the arcades
Tag tournament.
before, because they came out in arcades before they
Mhm.
came out on
Yeah.
consoles. So that was like, that's where all my money went. It was Tekken 3. I was like, and I got really good
Estimate how much money you spent on
at,
that game.
gosh.
How much money did you give Konami?
In one sitting, or just over time.
Well, I mean, we could do whatever you can answer.
I would say like probably at least $100
In one sitting or over time?
over time.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is only like a few because
Okay.
the window
can.
of it being out.
I
But
can
I
only
can
remember
answer
like instances of like the parents going, "Here's $100" or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I can't remember.
I can tell you. So us dropping, it wasn't 40 on the Halo one, like $20, $30 now is not equivalent to when you're a kid and you're given a
Right.
certain amount, right?
Yeah.
So I was given
Arcade games
$50.
cost a little bit less then, too.
I was given
Mhm.
$50. Nate and I, at Scandia, there was Gauntlet Legacies. Dark Legacy was with the console version that came
Yeah.
home, but Gauntlet Legacy was a arcade game, and it was only I think it was
Whoa.
only 2 people could play, and we
Interesting.
dropped $30 a pop on it to beat it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And I think
Whoa.
it was only a 75 cent play.
So you
Mhm.
kept putting it in.
So we beat it.
Yeah.
We got to the end.
That's
So we got to put our
Wow.
names in there. But I think that's the only time. There could have been another one. That's the one I remember because we
Mhm.
were like running out of money. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Caitlin, do you have a high number other than the claw machines?
Do you, Tom?
Yeah,
No, I
I
do
think I've
not.
spent $70
Whoa.
On what?
in one
I
sitting.
don't think I've ever spent more than like 20.
And this is before I was working. So
Yeah,
this is saved,
right, so
this
that's
is
same.
saved up money.
$30 at 11 is a lot of money.
$70 I
Okay.
think was all on Maximum Tune. Was like I was trying to fucking
Crazy.
upgrade my dude. I went to several circuits, but
Wow.
it got just like it got to the point where it's just hard. It's just a
Yeah.
hard game. No matter how many upgrades you put in your car, like because you can only do upgrades, you can't buy your way into it. You
Right.
just have to keep playing. And every time you won a race or
There's
you
no
lost a
play
race,
to win.
no. So like you'd win and they would give you points, and that allows you to upgrade your car. But you have to make the right upgrades for the right car you did, or else you'd be fucking at this end game point where you have this dope car that can't win any race because everything just outmaneuvers you.
Mm.
And so it's like it was like a true like testament of like you
There
have to know what
was-
the fuck you're
There
doing.
was another
Strategery.
game that I put a lot of money in. Actually, it was at the Luxor. I might need the Nerd On Nation's help for this one, but I can't remember the name of it. But it was a game with a mounted assault rifle.
Okay.
And that one I went to year after year would go back to it until I beat it.
Huh.
And that one I sunk a lot of money into.
I've
It was at the Luxor, sorry, like right around the IMAX that's in there. One of the other games in there is a AVP game. So if anybody else knows what I'm talking about, it's a mounted assault rifle.
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, well, that was also in there, but it wasn't. It wasn't that.
No,
game.
you said AVP. That's what I always.
Oh
think.
yes, correct.
Like
Alien
it was
versus
like
Predator,
on a
sorry.
swivel, right? You don't take the
It was
gun
on a
off,
swivel, yeah.
and you have like a scope and you can look through it, possibly.
Right.
I remember playing that game.
Yeah, and I loved that game because of the gunplay, and I would go back to it year after year because we would stay at the Luxor a lot, so it was like just go downstairs and play that game.
Mm.
Not like an
nice.
SMG, an actual assault rifle.
I want to say it was like two-handed.
Interesting.
It might
Interesting.
have been. It might have been something.
We
like
ha-
that. I'll
yeah.
look it up and I'll. I'll let you guys know, but-
So back to Josh's, sorry, with the barcades and stuff like that. What has everyone's experience has been? A lot, many.
I hadn't experienced it until, I mean, of course, so Dave and Buster's has been around for a while, and I would say that it's not, I wouldn't call it a barcade. It's just it's, to me, it's a family fun center that happens to serve alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a barcade experience it's like you're going to a pub with a lot of cabinets inside of it.
I guess the epicenter would be a family one as well. They just
Yeah.
happen to serve a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
A lot.
I like a lot of alcohol.
They do. They serve mixed drinks.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It's not just
Oh.
beer.
I
love how
So-
Josh and I had the exact same.
Oh.
Oh.
You can imagine.
yeah.
People spend a lot of fucking money there.
I hadn't experienced. I mean, my first time experiencing like a barcade was actually, I think it was last year.
Wow.
I
Wow.
went to visit my best friend.
That's why we prolonged this
and Sam-
episode.
Yeah.
That's it.
I visited my friends Josh and Timmy, and we went
Shout
to
out.
a barcade down there, and it was really good beer. San Diego has some really good breweries, and yeah, it was a dope place. It was fun.
Aw.
They say it gets colder. You're bundled up now.
For me, barcades is like the moment I could start drinking, I went out of everywhere. And so like barcades was really cool idea when like I remember I think it was like an old friend I think her name's Danny. I think she's the one that like introduced me to one up here in LA. And it was cool. If anyone's ever been there, Danny, yeah, you know.
Yeah, Danny.
And it was cool and it's like
Shout out to David Borowski. We went
It's-
there for his birthday.
yeah, I was
Aw.
gonna say we actually went there recently. Like Corey and I had gone there like last year. Caitlin, we went there. This was when I came back as a monk. This is where I first came to. I went to One Up.
Oh yeah.
It's like
For Mikey's birthday.
if you go
yeah.
there, it's
Yes, that
it's,
Mikey, listeners.
It's cool because like it's public enough where it's like maybe this is a first date territory. But then if like things are going well, maybe we want to play some games together.
They got good food.
They do have some bourgeois looking birdcage thing that people want to sit in if they want to take a little Instagram pic.
for the gram.
But the one thing I've actually really liked, and this kind of bends the question a little bit, Freddie, when I went to hang out with him, when Nerd On sent me to San Jose with Silicon Valley Comic Con. Afterwards, we stopped and we got some food, and then we just walked down. And San Jose is one of those places to me like is like a hidden gem of places where like I grew up there as a child, but then as an adult, I have
As
no
a child.
as a child, and I have no idea what it is like as an adult. So like he'll take me to random places, and then they have these bars where it's much more chill because to me Asian people are just more chill about that shit. Where like you can get really fucking drunk if you want, or you can just have some fucking milk tea. But
sounds
then what
great.
you do is you rent out a booth, and then they just hook up whatever console you want.
Oh.
And so you're like, I'll have a milk tea, and then bring a Sega,
And an N64.
and then you bring a Sega, and then
I'm
like, cool.
sorry.
No
what?
problem.
And then they're like, yeah, sure, which game? I was like, I want that game.
Oh, actually,
And so it's pretty cool.
Sounds amazing.
yeah, that's another type of like arcade, like like a
The
console,
arcades. Like
arcade.
I remember as a kid going to the Great Mall right before you got to the
that
theater.
place sounds so great.
When you got to the theater, there was a giant internet cafe. Remember internet cafes?
Oh, yeah.
man.
And so every Asian motherfucker out there was playing fucking CS all day,
Oh.
Counter-Strike. And I'm like, this.
CSGO.
Yeah, I was like, no,
Back
just
then,
regular
probably
just a
not.
regular one.
Like
just-
one or two or something.
I think it was like 2. And
Yeah.
but I was just like, my goodness. Like, and the thing is like, I
I remember people playing that in school in computer labs.
it was
Yeah.
right next to the
Busted for it.
GameStop. So like to me, and that's why I moved towards console gaming more because you couldn't even fucking get a seat playing CS
Yeah.
because all the fucking dudes were just on it and like you got in there, you got killed. Like, all right, I'm gonna go GameStop.
Just
Yeah.
so everybody knows, in the mall that the 4 gentlemen here used to work together
Mhm.
at is one of those places.
There's-
It's like an internet cafe
Mhm.
console place that and it has
Oh.
board game
Oh, really?
tables
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
all that kind of
Where?
stuff.
Which fucking store is that?
Yeah, I didn't know about
It's across it's upstairs and it's kind of across the way from GameStop.
Oh. I just know that at that mall, every once in a while, Nintendo would be like, here's our fucking installation. Then I'm like, bitch, I
that.
want
Oh,
to
I remember that. Yeah.
Whoa.
I do want to say about barcades. The fun thing about them is the insane amount of like nostalgia while you're drunk is a
Oh.
very weird feeling.
Yeah.
And
Depends on where
I
who
think
you're
it's
with,
like,
too.
As a business model, it's brilliant because I have been there where I have been like willing to just drop, like I said, $200 on a card.
The dangerous thing now, as adults,
You have the money.
we can do that.
Yeah.
Where I was like, you know what? I want that
I'm gonna go ask mom
Yeah.
and dad. I don't
Foot
have to.
Yeah, right.
foot tall thing of warheads. I'm just gonna spend another $100 to see if I
it's
can
like
get
I
it.
want those
I
warheads.
could buy that on Amazon for $10.
Sure.
Yeah.
but I
I
want
wanna
to earn
earn
it.
it.
It's the satisfaction of doing something. And like, this is going to be a weird tangent about it, but like, I think that's kind of where the gold mine marketplace has been for the last 10 years is like the people who are now adults kind of had to grow up really quickly because technology grew so fast and also
Yeah.
information was being delivered so much more accessibly.
Mhm.
And so like people our age had to like, we were like, technically we had started having to be adults by the time we were 15 because we had to know who we were going to vote for by the time we were 18.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so like those kind of things were like kind of crazy where before it was kind of like just do your job, blah, blah. And then when the elections come, vote for who you like, who looks good on TV. And so now things are very different. So I almost find it so predatory where it's like you are
In a sense,
you're
yeah.
kind of asking us to go on a date with the childhood that we could have had because we weren't allowed to have it by the time that technology had been given to us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because now like everyone had to do multiple things in order to just be on
All
top
at
of the
once.
edge. And so like it's a fun place to play in, but then I was just like, this fucking like drags. It
weird.
drags
It's
sometimes because I'm just
weird.
like it like doing that drunken thing because I do have a lot of memories like drunken playing like Mario Kart or something like that. It's kind of like to me giving myself a second chance to go on a date with the girl from high school that I never had a chance with. But it's like I think about it, I was like, I would never want to fucking go on a date with her because fucking she was a shit person or whatever the fuck. Or, you know, hopefully she's happy. But like
Whoa.
but like that's the thing where it's like
whiplash.
I'm getting those you're getting a chance to time travel a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I last year when I experienced that barcade, I was with my two best friends growing up. I mean, from Cub Scouts on, knew these guys. We were brothers, and it was so interesting being
Thick as
adults.
thieves.
Being adults, you're drinking, and then behind you is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cabinet.
Yeah.
and we're dropping.
How do you not?
We're dropping quarters, and then we're going down to the
Who'd you
whiskey
play
place.
as?
I don't remember. I was drunk.
Don't tell him.
But
Best turtle.
He plays later.
Yeah, he probably does.
but it's just because you're sitting there, you're in your 30s, you're talking about things, you're playing these things from your childhood,
Talking
and
about your
it's
childhood.
talking about your childhood, and going, holy shit! Like it is an
That was a
interesting.
while
That's how these.
ago.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's how these barcades tend to start. Is like it's always people like from the generation that loved arcades, and then with the rise of like home consoles, it just like arcades started to sort of die slowly, and then
and then come back.
they're all gathering dust, and then finally,
It's a business I've wanted to start
Yeah.
with a couple people since I think we came up with this when we were 15. My buddies, Dax and Jesse from Broadway Bound Kids, we used to do musicals together. We called it the Kick It Cafe. Basically, the front of the cafe.
Kick It Cafe for those.
kick it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinky-
I heard it for a second too.
Kinky Cafe.
Kinky
Just in
Cafe.
case anyone wants
Kick
to
It Cafe.
yeah,
And
misconstrue it for something stupid.
essentially, because I like cooking and baking, the front part is a coffee shop with pastries and
course,
stuff like that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
But you can also sit down on anything you'd like and play. We got an Xbox hooked up here. We have a PlayStation hooked up here. We have a Nintendo hooked up here. If you want to go in the back, no food allowed. Comics, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. We hold tournaments. We have
This
all
sounds
that
like
kind
the
of shit.
Mecca.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like it's not quite like the
High
Luxor is like
octane.
2 stories of whatever.
Right.
It's like two businesses. You'd have to have
Yeah.
2 next door.
It's sort of like
Could be
That's
like
all
a
it is.
shotgun house
They
where it's just like
were-
doop boop boop.
Well, it's like
boop.
it's
yeah,
like
and then
how
you can buy your comics and literally go to the cafe section and
Yeah.
read them and
It's-
drink a coffee.
it's like how
and-
Legacy is, where out on one side it's the cards and the other side is the
Oh
comics.
yeah.
I was
There's-
watching Kick-Ass the other night, like, and I was like, "What magical place are they hanging out? Where it's like a perfect, it's like a throwback diner, connected to it like a comic book
Yeah.
store.
There were actually a couple places like that in Indiana.
There is a really
Well, we should start one.
to answer that question.
Okay.
There's
The Nerd On Cafe.
There's a spot in Sacramento called Oblivion Comics and Coffee.
Yeah,
It's a coffee store within comic store.
that's awesome.
So you get your coffee, and then they're all based around like
They're-
comic book
yeah.
things, and then you can go and buy comic books while you're drinking.
I have
coffee.
this
Yeah.
habit of looking into the windows of every for sale commercial property.
Yeah.
And my wife can attest to this. The first thing I do is I look inside and then I look around to see what the parking situation is like because I've had many friends who've had businesses that closed because the parking was shit. So
Yeah.
no one wanted to
wow.
go.
Yep.
That does matter.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Super does.
and especially if you're doing something like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! And you want to do tournaments, you need at least
gotta have
10 to 20
people-
parking spots.
Yeah.
You can
for
ask
you.
my friend Kyle, and you can. Every time I say, "Hey, we're going to this place," I'm like, "What's the parking situation like?"
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mhm.
Because
Well,
we
when I
used
see
to,
a business close, I'm like,
What was the parking
oh,
situation?
that's why.
except for the one that was called cheap cigarettes and it was too cheap.
Oh, wow.
There
There
was
are
a
other
place
reasons
called Cheap
businesses fail.
Cigarettes, and it was just like out of business. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, too cheap."
See
Anyway.
why their
Wow.
prices are higher somewhere else.
Anyone else? Barcade?
I've been to a barcade one time. It was on a date.
At the time of this recording.
As of the time of this recording. It was just on a date,
Ooh.
and it sounded like a fun place.
You can tell them, I'm right here.
Well, I don't know.
There's a retro barcade in Pasadena that I want to check out.
Well,
Yeah,
like-
but it was like a date,
one I
and it
sent
was
you?
like kind of it was
It's a
a
different one,
it
but
was- it was my first date in
yours
a
looks
long
nicer,
time.
to be
and
honest.
All
kind
right,
of awkward.
hold on, Ollie. Go on, Ollie. Now that they're done talking.
It says you, Tom.
No, but it was like I was more focused on the date and I was nervous and shit like that. So,
Yeah.
so like we were at the barcade and we played a few games and I was able to loosen up a little bit from that, but it wasn't like
Huh.
I wasn't able to like fully unleash on the barcade.
So hold
Wow.
on. Question for the single people.
Uh-huh.
What is the arcade game you'd play on the date to see what's the compatibility like?
A 2-person shooter.
2-person shooter.
See if they got your back.
What's the shooter? House of Dead?
That decides
Time Crisis?
nothing. That decides nothing.
Wow.
All right,
or
married
everything.
guy.
He's just bitter because we don't get to play.
Yeah,
or that no
that's-
one wants to
we
play
know.
with
That's
him.
true.
I don't
I think
know.
the problem is that someone does, very much so.
All that's popping into my mind is Carnival.
Okay. Carnival. Okay.
Yeah, because also I fucking hate clowns and zombies. So it's like the worst possible scenario. So it's like if I panic, what will you do?
Ollie, well, what would have been if
Actually,
you
now I
weren't if you
see.
weren't worried about this
Now
date?
I see.
What would have been the game?
Crisis situation.
The game to like let's say I just happen to spot it and it's that game and I'm like, this is perfect to determine like our compatibility. I would probably go with
Pac-Man.
I want to go with like a shooter game, but I also want to have conversation. So I feel like I would pick something that I loved from like my childhood. So like if they had like a Nintendo game or if they had Hydro Thunder.
Yeah.
I don't know
Thunder?
if they have Hydro Thunder
That'd be great.
arcade.
But I
When
feel
I
like
was-
that's the game you really liked. So.
Yeah, but most of the time, I mean, unless I'm wrong, like I said, I've only been to one. They tend to seem to only have like the stand-up arcade, the stand-up cabinets more often than the stand-up button cabinets, more than like
The sit downs.
the sit-downs.
Yeah, so far, my experience of arcades, they haven't really had those big cabinets.
Yeah.
Can't afford it, baby. Can't afford the real shit.
Yeah. So I would say, maybe start with something simple, like something from Atari, and then maybe move on to something, like a Simpsons type thing.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah. A Simpsons type game I think would be fun. And like, yeah.
Even though you never watch the show.
You don't have to watch the show.
No, I'm just saying that's
I've
so
seen,
funny.
I've seen a
that you-
handful.
you-
I know the characters.
You have a good memory of the show of the game.
Yeah.
Even though your mom never let you watch it. That's
yeah.
so, that's
Like I'm not
Simpsons-
mistaking Bart for
Simpsons
like
Hit
a
and
proper
Run?
kid. Huh?
Simpsons Hit and Run. You ever play that?
I did play that, not a whole lot. 'cause,
GameCube. I played on
So
GameCube.
good.
What was it on GameCube? Is that what
It
it
was
was?
on. I think it was on
Not
all
all of them,
all
I
those gen consoles. So Xbox were at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah, what was it? I think that's where like because I wasn't super into Simpsons is where it didn't. But what was
'Cause
it?
it's like a
Crazy
GTA.
Taxi. That was
Yeah.
like I was towards Crazy Taxi, and to me I was like, well, I can just play Crazy Taxi
The thing about
because there's
Simpsons
no.
Hit and Run, I believe, is
there's
that
no
you can
value
get out
add.
of the car and
Well, you can
like, go
get
to
into
the-
Oh.
car. You can switch people. You can
never-
buy new cars. You can repair the car.
Whoa.
So that's all.
Tom,
Oh, I just wanted to ask you guys, but for me,
you're included in this group that you created.
yeah, it'd probably be air hockey. 'Cause
Air
to-
hockey?
Air hockey is like, do you have the competitive edge?
Competitive.
Do you have competitive edge? Do you have hand-eye coordination? If you don't, then we can talk about it. If you do, then whatever. But then so like there you can talk. There's something physical happening. It's and
I think I think if you can get something competitive like
Yeah.
that is good.
And I do this on the show, and I make it a laughing bit for myself, where I do a lot of unnecessary sexual moans.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? Oh,
Because
never.
I think it's funny to hear that when I'm seeing sports being played and that happens, like tennis. Ah! Ah! Like it's just like, what the fuck? Are you getting shot every
Women are-
time
women
you,
are no
like,
better.
fucking
Yeah.
hit? And so like doing that, like having the playfulness where you can get those kind of like energies flowing, where it's like, cool, I'm down with that stuff.
Yeah.
Not that you asked, but pinball.
Okay. No, I only because it was on a date, so I was
so
like,
that
oh,
I
bring
can
that
play
up.
a game that I like and they
So-
can hang out.
Is it like a
No,
left and right pedal
You
thing?
take turns.
Okay.
Okay, take turns.
Oh, that's
Would
good.
you ever
And then-
try it? Like,
well-
have you ever tried that?
Hmm.
Like
Where
you do
you're in
right,
charge
somebody
of
else
the
has
right
left.
hand.
No,
Would you?
Would you?
no.
That
Okay.
you'd probably go crazy, right?
I would no. I don't know if I would go crazy, but I wouldn't want to drive the other person crazy either. Pinball is like such a like.
Well, I feel like
You gotta
you
be
can,
on.
you can have a ghost moment with that.
Hmm,
You can have like a Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore.
That's
like,
creepy on a
click,
first
click,
date.
click, click, click.
I ain't about that.
If it got to that level though, you don't know.
That's not me.
You
Nah.
don't know.
It ain't my
That's not me.
MO. I would just because it's the same thing.
How
It's
many
to see,
movies
are
ended
they
started with
competitive
the
about
first
it? What's
date?
their hand-eye coordination like?
Yeah.
What and it also like pinball. You can see what's their MO. What do they want to go for
Yeah.
the most?
Yeah.
Do they try to get it through the fun kind of stuff that lights up, or do they go for score?
Do they like it at all?
Okay, so
Oh,
we've talked a lot.
Josh,
It's hard for me to even imagine.
It doesn't prove anything.
because Bonnie doesn't want to or does play video games, so it's hard for me to even put it into place. But it'd be fun to do like a racing game.
Yeah.
Because they usually were 2-player.
I mean, honestly, I think it probably would be maybe actual go-kart racing, huh?
oh, that would be so much fun.
Oh my god.
yeah,
I love
She would do
go-karts.
I get
Yeah.
way too competitive with
David, the
go-kart.
president's daughter.
It's
Yeah.
not
Always
good.
in the back of my
I'm
head.
like I get
Did you go?
mean with
Yeah.
go-kart. Yeah.
Ollie,
I'm
what are you
also
gonna
not
say?
a competitive person,
That's
so
fair.
it's
That's
my wife's
the
not either,
damnedest truth.
which is
Yeah.
why I probably chose pinball because she's not competitive at all.
yeah.
Fair.
I was going to segue us to
Yeah.
Ham-fisted, please.
a final question that I have for the room.
Ding, ding, ding. Final Jeopardy.
If you were now, we mentioned making our Nerd On office. Now that's going to happen someday, and we're going to have our
That
favorite
will
cabinets.
happen.
So we're going to outfit it with 5 cabinets, right?
So we all each get to choose one.
We each get to choose a single cabinet to outfit our office with. What cabinet?
I
is
mean,
that?
I feel like I already answered that. It would
Yeah.
either be the Addams
Specific.
Family
Addams Family
or
pinball.
Lord of the Rings pinball.
Or Lord of the
Either
Rings
one of
pinball.
those. I feel like okay.
Pick one.
I'll say Lord of the Rings because Addams Family is
the most
like we said,
expensive.
the most. Well, it's the most popular one, so you're gonna see it the most places. People come over, they go, "Oh shit, Lord
Oh,
of the Rings."
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this so
Plus,
much.
you don't want to be a basic
extended,
bitch.
extended version.
I believe one of the things in it is the tower with the eye too, which is pretty cool
That's amazing.
Yes.
because it is based off the
Yes.
movies. Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
break it open, take all the
Nope.
minis,
No,
and
no,
then
no,
make a
no.
little like
So that,
D&D
that's
thing.
I'll do that.
installation.
I'll do that. Lord of the Rings pinball.
Lord of the Rings
That's
pinball.
mine.
All right,
Alright.
Caitlin.
Oh my god, I just had it. Oh,
Claw
a DDR machine.
A DDR machine.
Revolution.
Yeah, Revolution.
DDR Revolution. Nice. Very
Wait,
good.
isn't DDR? Doesn't that stand for Dance Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
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 So there's DDR There's DDRR.
There's Dance Dance
different-
Revolution,
yeah,
Revolution.
DDR,
Revolution.
DDRR.
Can they just put a little 2
Nope.
above
No.
Do you
It's a
wait? Also
revolution.
quantifying fact. Do you have a favorite song from it? Do you remember?
What was the insanity one? It was Tokyo
it?
something.
It's probably called Revolution,
Midnight-
Revolution,
Midnight
Revolution.
something.
I just know.
Dance Dance Dance.
Mr. Butterfly.
Oh.
Green, black, and blue with this. Oh my god, that
Oh,
was the
man.
fucking one that played all the goddamn
I'm
time.
gonna have to look it up.
All right, DDR.
Yep, DDR machine for me.
Oh, I totally get like a 2-player Cruising World full cabinet. So like two of us coworkers could just
Yeah.
hop on it and like it'd be free to play, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Be like
Mhm.
coffee break, just like, ooh, let's go do a race.
Yeah.
Fun.
Mine, I would say mine would have to be Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Like I feel like I've never beaten Jurassic Park, and I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
And that would
Yeah.
make,
Yeah.
and I could always talk about it as like my favorite and what I declare to be the best arcade game ever.
Wow.
I was 100% wrong this entire time. It's not DDR Revolution. It's DDR Extreme.
Okay.
So it was the green one. But
That's
I remember
extreme.
I that was the one I actually least liked.
Midnight Special.
Oh, okay. All right. I remember. I like to. Anyways,
What's yours?
What's your pick?
I think for me, I would, it honestly, like if I were to have something for myself, it would probably be air hockey. But the thing is,
you have to have someone playing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would probably just do Maximum Tune 3
There you go.
because it's chill and you just listen to a bunch of fucking J-pop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so it's pretty
Well-
much what it is. Like, here's a music video game.
Yeah.
You know
You're
what?
just driving.
I'm gonna change my answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say X-Men because it's something we can all play at once.
I
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
Because it's up to 6 players.
And that's the
we'll
thing-
get Will in here, and all
I
do
do have to
Ooh.
give a shout out for
We'll-
a Marvel vs. Capcom.
we get our
game.
guests to come play.
Do you have to play with other people, or can you play solo?
You can play solo.
I'm sure you
it's
could.
up to 6.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like, I want to play something that's multi, but it's like if I have to play one by myself, it's gonna be that one.
yeah.
But yeah, I'd fucking Marvel vs. Capcom, baby, all day.
That special
Nice.
shout out to Marvel vs. Capcom.
Or we just go with the Halo Fire Team Raven.
Oh yeah, we need that too. That's
and a
the
pool
6th.
table.
That's
Yeah.
the 6th.
And-
That's just like a group
There you
thing.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool, guys. I
Wow.
feel
Nice.
complete.
I
Yeah.
feel complete.
This has been awesome.
I'm complete.
Hey,
What are your favorite
let us
arcade
know.
cabinets?
Your favorite-
You forgot. You hate, and
no,
then you
I
went,
just wanted to
wait,
give it
what
some
are-
breath.
Wow.
Slip
Let
and
us-
slide in
There
those
it is.
DMs all day, the way that you slide that coin in that slot.
I want to go to an arcade now, but not in
Yeah.
the way that Tom.
Not
Not
in
the
the
Tom
Tom.
that Way does.
No one wants to Tom the way that I Tom.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, moving away from that.
But let us know what your favorite arcade games are. What did we
Yeah.
miss? Did you like any of the ones that we named?
Do that for father.
What's the most you've ever spent on an arcade game?
Mm.
Let us know.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out and listening and doing all the fun stuff. If you're new to Nerd On, do check out our website, nerdon.tv. Please stop by, rate and review us wherever you listen to us. That stuff certainly does help, just from
Certainly.
letting us know and letting the big companies know.
And if you want to hear a part 2, we have a wonderful place where you can point out or send suggestions, right,
Mhm.
Josh?
Yeah.
Where are suggestions at?
They're on
You can email it.
nerdon.tv.
You can go to
There's
our
a
website and our
suggestion
contact,
section.
and yeah, you go to our
There's links
page.
for everything.
There's also,
Nerdon.tv.
you're talking about the trivia, or the survey. We have a survey going on right now that's called nerdon.io/research.
I wasn't.
Check it.
Well, I was just saying we've been
Think you're
getting a
talking
lot. We've been getting a lot of suggestions,
Yeah.
and like a lot of people like our RS episodes, like this one. If you want to hear more expanded ones, then let us know. Blah blah blah. Do that. Click the website,
Do the
support,
thing.
contact, and then episode suggestions.
Or for as little as $1, you can hop into our Discord in the Neuron Nation and talk to us about it there. as
There
well.
it is.
So you
There
can
it
make it
is.
happen
Look at that.
There it
Make
is.
it happen to us
But then
Yeah.
in the website, there's a suggestion.
wherever it's convenient
Well,
for you.
On
Just send
that,
us a little message saying, I'm not wearing a hockey pad.
It's easy.
Just like
well
that.
played. Well
Thank
played.
you.
Anyway, you know the drill. As always.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.